So, the rule of one. This is a card play technique, and it's specifically referring to declarer. You can do it as a defender, but with all of these, almost all of these kind of card play techniques, it's easier for declarer to execute it because declarer can see the cards they've got. So it's easier to actually pull off something like the rule of one and other things like double finesses and stuff like that as a declarer, because you can actually see the assets your side has. It is always, strictly speaking, mathematically possible to do these things as a defender, but you don't know what cards your team has, so you can't know how to do it, if you see what I mean. Now, whenever you kind of sort of get into bridge, the more and more you get into the bidding and the play, you'll realise there's rules for all sorts of different things. Rule of 20 when you open the bidding, rule of 14, rule of 7 when to duck, rule of 11. There's loads of rules with just number at the end. The danger with having the first three words are the same and then the number means changing what it means is that you can mix these rules up. You can have the rule of 7 but actually use the rule of 11, or you can have the rule of 20 but only count up to, you know what I mean? You can crosswire them all. So you've got to be clear in your head which rule is which. Unfortunately, this is another one of those rules. Fortunately, the rule of 1 is quite a memorable one because it is 1. You normally remember that kind of thing because it's the first one you get to. So what it means, the rule of 1, is I could teach it you in one sentence, and that is, if you have one trump missing and that one trump is bigger than all of your trumps, you do not draw that trump. What that means is, if you play ace king of trumps and the trumps break and they've got the queen left, and you know if you play another round of trumps, they will win that trick. Their trump is a master trump. There is no advantage to playing 2 of your trumps underneath their one master trump. You can never ever avoid losing a master trump. You can't avoid it, because if their trump's bigger than yours, it is a winner. It doesn't matter whether you delay it to trick 13 or now, it will win. So the idea behind the rule of 1 says, if there is one trump, exactly one trump missing, that is bigger than all of yours, you do not need to use 2 of your trumps to draw it, because it's going to win anyway. And in fact, the defenders should look to draw trumps with their master trump. It's a bad thing for you to use 2 trumps underneath their one winning trump. You've actually not achieved anything. You've given them 2 of your trumps, is what you've achieved, which is bad. So if you take a look at this hand, let's go through the bidding, just out of interest. 1 spade from north, 2 of a minor from south, I don't care which one. I'm making the assumption that east-west are passing, simply because they haven't got good hands. If they do intervene, this hand will probably double.
Why 2 of a minor?
Because they've got too many cards, first of all. That's silly. Because they can't support the spades. And
I was thinking 1 no trump.
They've got too many points.
Oh, right, they've got 10.
Yeah,
okay.
Just making sure. You made me worry then. I thought I'd not done enough points. So one spade. Now I've actually made this hand have 13 cards. 1 spade, 2 diamonds. Just bidding your suit, 10 plus points. Interestingly, flashback to last week, Jacoby 2 no trumps means that you can't bid 2 no trumps as a natural bid here, showing 10 to 12 points in a balanced hand. There's no loss there, you just bid your minor suit and your partner rebids. 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts showing 5-4, 3 spades showing an invitational hand with a spade fit, 4 spades, I want to be in game. Essentially, North-South find their 5-3 spade fit and then they play a game in spades. I'm not particularly worried about what the opponents lead. Let's say they lead something that doesn't help us, nor does it harm us. Well, I suppose they can harm us if they like. Let's say they lead the jack of hearts. That doesn't help us or harm us, really. They could lead a diamond and take their ace of diamonds. They're going to win that whenever they want to. Now, here, because there isn't much ruffing, i.e. non-ruffing, in the short holding, you should be looking to draw the trumps. So the rule of 1 makes an assumption that if you are going to draw the trumps, then you leave the one master outstanding. If you don't think drawing trumps is the correct line, then that means the rule of 1 doesn't work, because you will almost always be missing more than 1 trump. So the rule of 1 only operates when there is 1 trump missing, i.e. you have attempted to draw some rounds of trumps. If you haven't attempted to draw any rounds of trumps because you don't think it's a good idea, the rule of 1 doesn't really come into it. Obviously, kind of a caveat to that is that you have to have a trump suit. If you're in no trumps, there is no trump, so the rule of 1 doesn't work either. So they lead the jack of hearts, you win the king, or win the ace, whatever you want to do. Slightly better to win the king because you're starting to unblock the suit. And you decide, I want to draw the trumps. I can't ruff in the dummy, I can only ruff in hand. Remember, ruffing in the long holding is bad, so we need to draw the trumps. Your hope is that the trumps are 3-2, because we're missing 5 trumps. If the trumps are breaking 3 and 2, you will only lose 1 trick there. It is inevitable you will absolutely lose at least one spade because you're missing Queen, Jack, 10 and 2 little ones. So you can't possibly pull all the trumps off them. So you play the King of Spades, everyone plays a spade, good, they're not 5-0. Play another spade, they play the 10, the ace and the jack. Oh good, they've broken 3-2. So a 3-2 break is the most common break, so we haven't got lucky, we've just not got unlucky on this hand, which is good for us because it means we only have one spade loser. Key here is that their spade is bigger than ours now. So if you were to play a spade, you would be giving them, whoever has the queen, it looks like East just because I've left a space there, but it could be either of them. If you play a spade, they will win the queen and you will be void of trumps on the dummy and you will have used one of your trumps in hand to no effect. You have not achieved anything because their Queen of Spades will win a trick. Whether you like it or not, that's just life. So therefore, you would be best to avoid spades at all costs. Instead, what you would want them to do is have to trump in with that Queen of Spades because then they've made their master trump, which they're going to make anyway, but they've not pulled any trumps off you. Okay? If the defender finds themselves in a position where they have to trump in with a master trump or discard, neither of those are attractive things. They trump in with their master trump, which was going to make anyway. You have now more trumps than you were going to have. Or they discard, letting you win whatever you're winning. There is no attractive kind of option there for the defender. They have to choose your poison, if you like. So now what I would look to do is look to our next best suit. Our next best suit is hearts. So I would just play hearts. There is no gain in playing trumps. You could play a trump and then win whatever they do and then play hearts. But you don't need to. You don't need to waste your 2 trumps. Essentially, one master trump, just leave it. It's going to win anyway. So low heart, heart, queen, heart, low heart, heart, ace. The hope here is that they are 3-3. The hearts might be 3-3, might they? In which case your 13th heart, this one, will be a winner. Let's say they are 3-3. The 10 needs to have appeared somewhere. This person doesn't know how to sort their hand. And now you've got 13th hearts because they broke 3-3. So then you can play a heart. And this person, I'm going to assume he's just got the Queen of Spades, but it could be this person. They have no hearts left. Whoever has the Queen of Spades now has a kind of an unattractive option. Should they rough in with their master trump, leaving you with one trump extra in each hand? Because really they want to play their master trump and pull 2 trumps off you. Or should they discard, letting you enjoy your 13th heart? Neither of them is good. If they do rough in, let's say they do rough in with their Queen of Spades, you can discard something, and now you have an extra trump in each hand, which should amount to at least 1 extra trick, because even if you play both of those trumps in 1 trick, that is 1 extra trick, isn't it? And if you can manifest it so that you play them in separate tricks, that's 2 extra tricks, because it's 2 extra trumps. What you've done is not allowed the opponent with their master trump to actually draw those 2 trumps off you. Simply, when they've got 1 trump missing, just leave it, as long as it's bigger than yours. Okay? If the hearts hadn't broken, if we go back to this world, where we hadn't played that 13th heart, let's imagine that instead the 10 of hearts was here, but not yet played. They have this choice on the ace of hearts, so we've just played Queen of hearts, then a heart to the ace, and now they've only got 2 hearts. So they have this choice as to whether to play the Queen of Spades right now. They might be more incentivized to do so because they play the Queen of Spades on your ace, stopping you from winning your ace. But notice the difference now. When they play their Queen of Spades, they still have roughed it when they didn't want to. And your trump now is overhanging so that you can rough your 4th heart on the dummy because you have that extra trump with South. Do you see that? The hearts didn't break, so your little fourth heart, whatever it is, the 7, wasn't a winner, but because of the fact you haven't played an extra round of trumps, you can now rough that 4th heart on the dummy. Do you see? So because you didn't use your 2 trumps to knock out their Queen of Spades, you didn't need the hearts to break, because if the hearts don't break, it doesn't matter, because you can rough your last one anyway. Okay? So in this hand, you rate to lose the Ace of Diamonds, the Queen of Spades, or whatever spade is the last one, could be the Jack or whatever, and the King of Clubs if the finesse fails. You can't fail in 4 spades. You can fail in 4 spades if you draw the last round of trumps, because then you could lose a heart, a diamond, a club, and a spade, because the 4th heart isn't necessarily a winner. You with me? And if the hearts are 3-3, of course, you don't need to rough it, so therefore you can just discard something and everything's hunky-dory. Alright? Simplistically, when you have a missing trump and it is bigger than all of yours, leave it. And that's all there really is to the rule of one. There are very few cases where it might be a good idea to drive out that one missing trump, which I'll talk about now. And there are some cases where you feel like it's a rule of one, but it isn't actually. So I'll do another example where it looks like a rule of one, but it actually isn't. So we're in some contracts, some diamond contracts. Let's say 5 diamonds, because that gives us a challenge. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that gives us a lot of challenge. All right, some parts go in diamonds. Diamonds and trumps, that's the main thing. And we now have what seemingly, well, it will work out to look like a rule of one situation, but I'll explain why it isn't. Let's say the opponents lead a spade, because that doesn't make any doesn't complex us at all, doesn't make any complexity to the hand. It's likely south will be declared with the diamond, so let's say it comes from here. You win the ace, let's say, for simplicity's sake. And you want to start drawing the trumps because there's not really any roughing to be done in the dummy. You could rough a 3rd round of spades with north, but you don't have 3 spades, so there is no roughing to be done. So you draw the trump, you play low diamond to the ace, and everyone plays one. But no one plays a big one. So, my question to you is, well, their trumps are now master trumps. Their king, queen of diamonds are bigger than ours, aren't they? They have 2 trumps left. It's either king, queen, or queen, king, or queen, king, or queen, king. It's either 2 here, or 1 apiece. In theory, this feels like a rule of one. The problem you've got, of course, is that there isn't one. That's why the rule of one is named as such. But it feels like a rule of one. Why would we use our trumps to let them have their master trumps? Surely we should just let them make their trumps as roughs, like we did on the previous hand. The thing you've got here is if you don't play any more diamonds, they will definitely make their trumps separately. They will never play the queen and king of diamonds in the same trick. However, the diamonds might be split. They might be queen and king or queen and king. So if we play a round of diamonds, it might be that their 2 master trumps fall on the same trick. I.e. the rule of one here does not apply because there isn't 1 missing. There's 2. So therefore you should play another round of diamonds. Yes, it might be that the one opponent has both trumps. If one opponent has both trumps, that is not good because it means they can play king and then queen. But you should take your chances in potentially felling all of their diamonds in one trick because you haven't got 1 missing. So when you play another round of diamonds, your hope is they play the queen or king, you play low because you have to, and then they play the other one. And thus you have reduced your trump losers by 1 by playing the trumps. Do you see the difference? Because we're not missing 1, we don't necessarily have 2 definite losers in diamonds here. We might only have 1 loser as long as we play them ourselves. So you take your chance. If it so happened that they showed out and they have king, queen left, it would have been better to leave them with the king, queen of trumps, but you didn't know. When you have 1 missing trump, you know it's the good idea to leave them because you know they're going to make it in 1 trick. When they have 2 trumps bigger than you, they might fall together. Okay, so therefore you should attempt to try and get that to happen. Of course it won't always happen. You need a 2-2 break, which is like 40-odd%. But it's worth trying. Okay, you see the difference? The rest of the hand, if they do break, let's say they do break, and this didn't happen. The rest of the hand, you've got no spade losers, you've got question marks in hearts, the finesse will work or not, so you've got 1 or 2 losers here, and you've got 1 or 2 losers there, depending on how the clubs break. But the important point is, if you don't play another diamond because you feel like it's a rule of one, the opponents will definitely play their diamonds separately. Eventually. One of them will rough on their own, and then the other one will rough on their own. Eventually. Whether that's trick 11 and 13, or whether it's now and the next trick, doesn't really matter. You know you will definitely lose 2 diamonds if you leave them to their own devices. Assuming they don't, for some reason, play them on the same trick, which they won't. Unless you play a diamond. Okay?
So obviously you can't make the decision to apply the rule of one until some cards have been played.
Yes.
But do you start looking for it at the beginning?
You might sense it when you suspect you've got trump losers. Like in this diamond suit, I'm suspecting I've got trump losers because you have to have. It might be that a suit breaks badly, so you didn't expect a trump loser, but now you do have a trump loser.
So you don't, I mean, obviously you don't make the decision until...
Not early doors, no. But if you've made the decision to draw trumps, then it's time to look, and if you have no trump losers, great. And if you do, then think about the rule of one. Because if there is 1 trump missing, it's a good idea too. Right, let's have a look at another one. I'll not do the whole hand, I'll just do the trump suit, whatever the trump suit is. So we're playing this trump suit. We've got 9 trumps, and we're missing the queen. and jack and 10 and all that jazz. So the normal way to play this suit, well the only way to play this suit, is play the ace, play the king, cross your fingers. If they're 2 and 2, fantastic, no trump losers. If they're not, you will have some trump losers, depending on how they're behaving. So this, in a sense, kind of works itself out as a rule of 1 situation, or not, depending on how the trumps break. So you play the ace and that's what you see. No information, all you know is they weren't 4-0, so that's good. Your only option is to play the king. It's your only chance of felling the entire suit. When you play the king, they do that dreaded pause when you know things are breaking badly, and they discard a diamond. And they play the jack. They also can't sort their hand. So now you are in a rule of 1 situation again. They have the queen of trumps. It is bigger than all of your trumps. It is 1 on its own, so therefore you should leave it, because the rule of 1 is satisfied. That is not what you were hoping for. You weren't hoping for the rule of 1 to apply here. You were hoping that everyone played a spade twice, and then all of the spades were yours. So you weren't intending, a rule of 1, although you might do today, because you know I've put them about. But you weren't intending to think, I'll leave you with your massive trump. You were hoping no one had a trump trick. Because you play the ace, you play the king, hooray, everything breaks 2-2. Or not. If it doesn't, you are now in a rule of 1 position. Someone has the queen of spades, which in this case must be West, so you should leave them with it because it is their one and only master trump. Okay? Right. Try another one. Similar-ish suit. We now have 8 cards rather than 9, and we have the ace, king, queen. Again, you would not hope for a trump loser here. You play the ace, you play the king, you play the queen, and in theory, everyone plays 1, and then everything is happy. You've drawn all the trumps. Hooray. Again, I want to point out, I'm making the assumption that you are wanting to draw trumps. Always think, before you do all of this stuff, do I actually want to draw the trumps? Because it might be that you need to rough there, rough here, rough there, rough here, in which case rule of 1 doesn't come into it. So I'm making the assumption that drawing trumps is a good idea. Now, we play the ace, they all play 1. We play a low, and they play 1. Sorry, play the king. Keep me on my toes. And they discard. So the trumps have not broken 3-2. 3-2 breaks pretty common, like high 60s, high 60% chance. So we've got unlucky here. 4-1 break is less common. Well, that's tough, that's life. We have got a 4-1 break. They have the jack-10 of trumps left, which means we are going to lose a trump. We didn't want to, but it's what we've been faced with. So when we play our 3rd round of hearts, we are again in a rule of 1 position. They have 1 trump left, it is bigger than ours, you should leave it. So when the trumps break not the way you want, you can be presented with a rule of 1 position because of the bad trump break. That doesn't mean you should be happy, obviously, because the trumps are broken badly and a trump loser has kind of established itself out of nowhere. But at least you don't have to use one of your 2 remaining trumps to let them have their jack of hearts. Instead, you should be doing whatever else you should be doing, playing on your next best suit. Let them have their jack of hearts separately, and then you will make 2 extra tricks out of these 2 trumps at some stage. Okay? Again, you would be burning a trick by playing a heart to let them have their jack, based on the rule of 1. Okay? So it can kind of materialise itself from a bad trump break. Yes, that's not good, but you should still do your best to deal with it. Alright? Right, now, I'm just going to put one hand up where the rule of 1 would apply, but I wouldn't follow it, which is a really exceptional thing. I want to say the rule of 1 is correct, like 90, probably high 90% chance. But there is a time where you might not want to do it. Okay. Oh, too many cards as normal. Okay, good. So we are in, let's say we're in 6 spades, some kind of optimistic contract. It's not that optimistic, it's got reasonable chances. And we get a club lead, something that doesn't help us. By the way, I'll come back to it in a minute, a diamond lead would harm us, and I'll explain why in a minute. Queen of clubs lead. So we follow suit, they play a club, we play the ace. Now our intention should be to draw the trumps to enjoy those really nice diamonds. Yeah? If we play ace of spades, king of spades, and all the trumps fall down, i.e. they are 2 and 2, we will then go diamond, 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 diamond. Is our hope. Yeah? That should be our plan. We don't need to rough in the dummy. We could rough a 3rd round of clubs over here, but we don't need to. We've got that long diamond suit that should, in theory, just go bleh and get rid of all of our losers. Okay? Of course, we need to draw the trumps first, so that should be our plan. So you play the ace of spades. Everyone plays one. You play the king of spades. The jack appears. You throw something away. Oh, sorry, you need to follow suit. They throw something away. They throw a heart, let's say. So the trumps did not break 2-2. So in theory, we are now in a rule of one position. The queen of spades is outstanding. We don't want to use one of our trumps to force their queen of spades out. Instead, we should just play our next best suit. Our next best suit is diamonds. Okay? So the rule of one would say that you go diamond, 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 however many you can get away with until the person with the queen of spades roughs in and you have gained a trick by doing so, because you've gained a trump. The problem you have here is entries. If you play a diamond, diamond, and they rough it, the hand's over. You cannot get back to those winning diamonds. So this is an exception to the rule, because really you are completely in control of the entire hand. The only thing you are going to lose is the queen of spades, because the spades didn't break. So what you should do, even though it goes against the rule of one, is play a spade, making them play their queen. You discard something, sorry, follow suit, they discard something. But now, when you play diamond, 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 they can't stop you. It is the one and only case I could come up with where the rule of one doesn't apply, is when you have a running suit and you can't get there unless, so you need to get rid of that trump. You only have one entry to the dummy. In this case, that one single diamond. Do you see? If we had two diamonds here, it might still be a good idea to get rid of that trump, because if you play 2 rounds of diamonds, you've got the same problem. Okay? Let's imagine they're roughing the diamond somewhere in this area. You haven't got enough discards by the time they're in, and then you can't get back to them. That's the problem you should foresee. If you like, logic supersedes all of these rules, as it always does. But be aware that if you do have a long caching suit and no way there, you might want to drive their trump out to stop them from trumping in your long running suit. You with me? It's the one and only example I could come up with. And to be honest, I can't remember the last time this actually happened to me, because it's quite specific. You need a missing trump that's bigger than yours, one entry to a long running suit. It's not very common. Normally the rule of one is very good because it gains you a trick in this instance, but you're actually burning a lot more tricks than one by playing all your diamonds now. You with me? Mm-hmm. If the trumps are broke 2-2, it'd be happy days. You'd run down all your diamonds and take all your tricks, however many they are. Okay? If trumps were 4-0, you're very sad because you bid a good slam and gone off because the trumps are 4-0. Okay? Mm-hmm. Out of interest, if I just replenish the cards without the circles, if they had led a diamond at trick 1, oops, that's a strange X. If they had led a diamond at trick 1, that would have burnt your entry before drawing the trumps. Rub these out. If they had somehow known that leading a diamond was a good idea, that would have given you big problems. Because if they had miraculously or fortuitously led a diamond, you would win, naturally. But now your diamond's gone. So you actually have no entry to dummy from now on. This is what the problem with entries can of cause. I'm going to do something in a few weeks on entries because it's really quite a pivotal thing for declarer players, knowing where your entries are. Now your best chance, if you're interested, is cashing diamonds, as many as you can get away with, throwing this one, and this one, if you can get away with it, and then hoping that the person who roughs this diamond, whichever diamond it is, only has 3 trumps or 2 trumps. So the trumps then are a no-loser suit. They're your best chances. But of course, it is quite upsetting that they've led a diamond because it stopped your 100% chance, which is ace, king of spades, and then the diamonds. Okay?